Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for calling this important hearing. We've been focused on this issue quite a bit lately. And thank our witnesses for being here today. COVID-19 and unprecedented droughts have already strained the global food supply. Now Putin's unprovoked and full-scale invasion of Ukraine is really the nail in the coffin. Starvation has likely already begun, with an average of one person dying every 48 seconds across Kenya, Ethiopia, and Somalia. In Somalia alone, 380,000 children are at risk of dying. Globally, 50 million people across 45 countries are on the brink of famine. And meanwhile, Putin's invading forces in Ukraine have mined fields, bombed grain silos, stolen Ukraine grain. Within 24 hours of it being signed, an agreement to secure grain exports was violated by Russian forces firing 4 missiles at the port of Odessa. We had David Beasley with the World Food Program testify just last week. I met with him privately as well. And within 24 hours, I don't trust him. And like Stalin, Vladimir Putin is purposely starving the Ukraine people, blocking them from their access to the Black Sea, not unlike Stalin did many years ago. He's also trying to weaponize starvation. He should think about his legacy. Does he want to cause a global famine? That's what David Beasley tried to persuade him through his Mr. Lavrov, that this is not your legacy. And now we're going to see a rise in forced migration, destabilization in the Sahel, which will result in more ISIS and Al-Qaeda terrorism. We provided $8 billion in supplemental funding to address global humanitarian needs and food security crises. So I look forward to hearing what USAID is doing to get these funds out the door and into where it needs to go as soon as possible. I would also urge the administration to waive the cargo preference requirements for the purposes of this emergency. Our priority should be paying for food, not unnecessary shipping costs. Spending unnecessary resources on shipping means less food for starving people. And it's not really an exaggeration to say that action now will save lives. I hope greater flexibility on cargo preference will be a bipartisan issue that we can address together in committee through legislation. The U.S. cannot and should not respond alone. Other countries must step up to the plate and do more. The U.S. has provided the World Food Program with $3.9 billion this year, while China has only provided $3 million. That's unacceptable. And amidst this global crisis, we cannot lose focus on longer-term investments in food security and agriculture growth. As someone from an agriculture state myself, I'm proud to be an original co-sponsor of the Global Food Security Act, along with Chairman Meeks, Representative McCaul, and Representative Smith. Congress must reauthorize these critical programs, do everything we can to advance smart investments in food security, nutrition, and ultimately the ability for families and community to provide for themselves. I'm pleased the Foreign Relations Committee and the Senate unanimously advanced my bill, the Global Malnutrition Prevention and Treatment Act, out of their committee and urge the Senate to pass this important bill. And I was also glad to see Administrator Powers announced to buy additional nutrition supplies for global use. Global starvation must be a priority for Congress and this administration. It should be a priority for this nation. For if we do nothing, it will certainly come to our doorsteps. And with that, I yield back.